Wow, the sun is brilliant right now. What's going on, everybody? John Graves Kayak Fishing here. We're sneaking through a little tributary, a little canal of sorts, a pinch point of sorts, you might say, on the kayak. And that's what's great about kayaks. You can really take advantage of some of these extremely shallow parts where a bass boat's not going to go from this deep part through this little shallow connection into there. But guess what? Bass will. And it's a great place to obviously be during the spawn. But right now we're just going to pinch ourselves through here. And we're only in about the water, so bear with me. We're going to push our way through here. And then right before we exit the pinch point into the other body of water, I'm gonna clear the minefield, you might say. I'm gonna get out there and I'm gonna cast, boom, 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 and I'm just gonna see if we can't either make something move or push up a bite. But right now we are not very deep at all. We are about 5 inches deep, 6 inches deep. But the cool thing about having a stand-up paddleboard or something that I'm on right now, the Hobie iTrek 11 inflatable, which is kind of like a SUP. SUPs are a lot more popular down here in Florida, down here in the southern states, than I think they are up north of the Mason-Dixon line. Definitely, I don't know of anybody that's fishing from a SUP that I know of up in Ohio, but there's plenty of people that will fish from a SUP here. And you can really treat this Hobie right here just like one. It's very stable. You know, it's an inflatable. It's going to give you some visual. This water is just absolutely amazing. I can already see what might be some early morning spawn. But yeah, very comfortable to sit down on as we continue to push ourselves through this little choke point. Now, even though we're in 6 inches of water, don't deny the fact that big bass can be up in here. It looks like that is a potential nest area right there. This water about a year ago was about 7 feet higher than it is right now. It was up here. You can notice as we traverse through here, all of these dead pine trees, and starting to get a little deeper here, and you start getting to the 2 foot range, you're getting into some bass territory. So I'm going to go ahead and put the oar down. I'll go ahead and unlock the Mirage Drive, even though I think we may have to keep it up. You can feather the Mirage Drive and get yourself through here. But since we're here in this choke point, let's go ahead and clear the minefield, shall we? We might just drum something up. At least you're going to see some movement. You'll see a bass move on it. You'll see it spook a fish. You'll see some what I like to call weird water. Water that's just not looking like it normally does. There's something in there making that water move. And it's just filled with lily pads, tree structure. These pine trees have just been stripped of every one of their limbs. And it just makes for a great habitat for small bait fish and big predator fish. Areas like this, you'll catch bowfin, you'll catch pickerel. I'd rather catch bass, but they're fun fights. And if they want to, take it on, they can take it on. They're pretty slimy, kind of no fun to mess with. So since we're here, you can just see I'm just really lobbing this thing around and seeing if we can't drum up something. You'll be surprised when you sneak through here in a kayak or even something as quiet as an inflatable. You'll be right next to them. And the F1 Florida bass are a pretty aggressive species of bass. So we'll come back here, little back flip right there. And if we can't get nothing on this one right here, we'll go ahead and move forward. So with those casts right there, boom, those fan casts coming through this little spot that's maybe 40, 50 yards wide. Again, a choke point between two bigger bodies of water. Do yourself a favor, boom, especially this time of the year. These fish down here in Florida are gonna start going into spawn, and they'll work, and I've already seen males. Just a couple days ago, caught a couple males that had some bloody, had little bloody tips on their tails. They've been rubbing around on something. One of them had a fat lip, which is always a sign. Those males starting to just, kick in. And for me, it always seems the timing after, deer season. When those bucks, those big, beautiful Midwest Ohio bucks and Indiana and Kentucky bucks and Iowa bucks and Illinois bucks, oh my God, just big, huge, beautiful whitetail. When they start to get tired and they've done what they've done, it always seems that it's just right around the corner and the bass are gonna start kicking it in and doing what they do. Down here in Florida, that bass can spawn, they'll spawn 1, 2 times. I've heard up to 3. I don't know about that, but they have different spawning stages. Haven't caught any females with some big evidence of bellies or anything like that, but that probably will be for a moment. Here we are at the choke point again. I'm just absolutely blinded by the brilliance of the sun. It's just amazing this morning. You can feel the temperature just change like that as soon as it comes up. This choke point that we're in right now is about 25 yards wide. Grass, really thick bamboo grass on this side, broken stumps and pines, and lots of lily pads, and the same thing kind of over here. If you guys ever seen that movie 300, where the Persians come in and just, tens of thousands of them come in, and Spartacus and his boys are, lined up. This is kind of what this is all about. They got a choke point. They're only going to come through here. They will move from big body to water to, other body of water. They can't walk across land, and so they come through here. So do yourself a favor. You pull up to a choke point. Just get yourself in a good position. I can probably scoot up a little bit. Let's see if my Mirage Drive can take me. I do have an FP 885 flipping and pitching stick, which allows me sometimes to get a little leverage on some things like stumps. This is an MHX FP 885 flipping and pitching stick. If you're serious about Florida fishing, and I don't care if you're freshwater or saltwater, you're doing yourself a big disfavor by not having a rod that is built with the FP 885 flipping and pitching stick. It's without a doubt, there's a ton of people that can tell you what my favorite fishing rod is. I mean, flat out fishing rod. This thing, I'll take it everywhere. Inshore, freshwater. It'll handle big saltwater game. It's a 12-30, so it's pretty dynamic in its range. It's got a mod fast tip, which allows me to, in a real thick area like this, where I'm just climbing this 3-inch swim bait, basically. It's about a 3.5-inch swim bait, homemade, very similar to the Gambler. It's single hinge, got that big womp 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 tail of it. It's green pumpkin with some it's got some blue flake, a little orange flake in there, to kind of reminiscent of some of the pan copperheads down here. The copperheads, when I say copperheads, I'm talking about these big bluegill that just absolutely have these big, huge, beautiful bronze copperheads. Pretty neat looking. So this is what we're rigged up to. So it's an underbelly weighted hook. It's Gamakatsu. It's a 1/4 ounce, so it's not too heavy. Or no, actually, this is an 1/8 ounce, so it's even lighter. Spring loaded up here, so it's got a spring lock up there. I like those because it allows the lure to be all that it can be, and I think that works out really well. This is where the action is in that tail, and it got pretty cold last night, so we can as the morning warms up, these fish, they love it hot. They like it hot down here. They really do. And the warmer it is, obviously, the more active they are. But certain times of the year like this, where that water drops and they feel the change, they get aggressive with their feeding. And you just have to figure out exactly what breakfast burrito they're interested in. Soft plastic, hard bait, color purple, green pumpkin, black and blue. What do you need? Sexy shad, 2-inch, 3-inch, 4-inch, mambo burn, big huge worms. What's going on? So that's, to me, is the fun and challenging part, going after bass, because bass can be a very picky species of fish. You're just not going to go out and catch that thing on a chunk of wood necessarily. It is a reactive fish, one that is reactive to lure, so you can basically catch it on a chunk of wood. Balsa wood lures out there, there's many of them, but they're made to look and replicate and paint it up like, real fish. So there's a visual trickery that's going on there, but most often you're looking for a reaction out of these big predator fish, and they react quick. It's a lot like making someone flinch when you go to throw a punch at them and they flinch. You're creating a reaction out of this big predator bass to do that, and their flinching is to fight back or strike back. So, you're laying a swim bait just right in front of their face, and God, what are they going to do? But again, they are not they're not an ignorant species. They're a relatively smart species of fish, especially as they get older. There's a reason why these big bass get the size that they do, because they're able to escape predation themselves. Well, I hope everybody's having a great Saturday. I can't believe it's Saturday again. Just coming over past Thanksgiving. Wow. Unbelievable. It was. Had a beautiful Thanksgiving. Just chilled, man. It's absolutely chilled. Miss my children. They're up north, and our grandchildren. I think we got 11 of them. We were counting them. We were counting them up last night. I was like, what the heck? What happened? Are you kidding me? How'd I get in the middle of all this? This is crazy. So we're hitting up the shallows is what we're doing. We're going to stay close. This, what I believe behind me, gets into about 5, 6, 7, 8 feet deep, which is pretty deep, to be honest with you. Behind we're just slipped up behind some neighborhoods where this is a flooded body of retention water here in Florida, and they are everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. On the side of the highway. Funny story about that, we had a gentleman come in from an electric company here in Florida, Central Florida Electric Company. Pretty big equipment, they got the trucks, they got the big booms and everything on them. And he came in and we got to talking. He's just loves to fish, and we got to trading stories, and he said, well, I got myself in a little trouble actually, doing some fishing. And so of course I asked him to provide some more about this story, because it sounded like it was going to be a good one. And he was traveling down the side of the highway, And there's these retention ponds, very similar to this one right here, that are just here, there, and everywhere. And because they're located where they're at, nobody can fish them. Nobody really can get down there. Nobody wants to stop doing 75 mile an hour and pull over on the side of the highway and go out and do some fishing. However, in the state of Florida, it's actually somewhat legal to do that. It's pretty bizarre. You got like a right to fish and hunt kind of thing going on around here. And you can get on your BMX bicycle and ride down the street, and there's a ditch where you can catch 6'5", 6-pound bass, 7-pound bass, big bass, trophy bass. And kids do that all the time. And for that reason, believe it or not, Floridians aren't really into bass fishing. They're way past that because they grew up catching bass. It's no big deal. Go down Grandma's ditch and catch a big fat one, How many do you want? They call them ditch pickles here. But for us in Florida, north, we can't do that. I wish we could. There's no money in cross country. Trust me. They got these high school and college bass teams. But back to the guy with the boom truck and the electric company. He pulls over on the side of the highway. He gears it down from 75 miles an hour. He pulls over on the side of the highway and pulls his truck out over above one of these ponds right next to it. Parks. Takes his boom and lifts himself out over on top of this pond. So he's got his boom from his truck extended out over into the middle of this pond, and cars are doing 75, 85 miles an hour down the highway. And everything was fine and dandy until his boss drove by and saw him doing it. The owner of the company, actually. And so guess who was the star of the show when, the owner of the company called into a big meeting of about 75 or 80 employees and said, "Hey guys, there's something I gotta tell you, that you can't do this with our equipment," and called my boy out. I thought that was so funny. Oh my God, but genius. And he said it wasn't the first time. He says he's done it, and he still does it in certain areas. But yeah, you can't do it on the side of the highway. But that is the thing here in Florida, man. You can just fish. Big fish are just absolutely everywhere. So we've been rolling through this one pretty fun. We've tossed this maybe about 15, 20 times or so. And I'll hang out with a lure for a while. I'm going to give it an opportunity. If you're willing to tie on a lure, then you should be willing to use it. Bill Dance said that. I didn't come up with that. That's Bill Dance's wisdom right there. That guy is like, if there was a Mount Fishmore, his head would be on it. He'd be like Teddy Roosevelt. Yeah, Bill Dance. I learned a lot from Bill Dance. A lot of people have. The great outdoors. Bill Dance and the great outdoors. The sun's just starting to rise up over the treetops. It's going to be a beautiful day. Just wait and see. Welcome to the Bill Dance Great Outdoors Show, America's longest running and most popular fishing TV show. Well, I'm going to go fishing with Bill Dance today. How deep are we? Wow, we're deep, guys, right there. I got to get around the stump. That's obviously not going to be persuaded from moving. I'm on the iTrek 11, man. I love this thing. This is from Strictly Sail and Kayak, located in Blue Ash, Ohio. Strictly Sail and Kayak. They've been there since 1978. You could almost say the mid-1900s. Damn. Did they have cars back then? That was a long time ago. Yeah, they did. They had some of the greatest vehicles created, known to man. American muscle power right there, man, in the 1970s. Let's get out of here. Let's get up here on the edge. I hope everybody's doing good. So I can't even really see these screens, so I want to say hi to everybody, man. Just really chilling. If you want to hang out, this is what we're up to. we're just throwing some stuff and hopefully catch up onto some big bass. We're also going to do a little crappie fishing too. But we're trying to figure out what these birds are and where they're at. We might have to soften up the toss a little bit. Just a couple days ago, they were pretty aggressive with some This is very similar to the gambler swim bait, if you're familiar with that, the garlicky, stinky gambler. I'll tell you, it works. This was homemade, actually. Not by me, but by a young man who said, hey, try these out, and he gave me a handful of them, and they've been fantastic. I'm going to have to order some. And they're very durable. We've caught a few fish on these already. Very durable. Now we're just basically 50, 60, 75 yards away from their backyards, people's backyards right now. It's just one of those crazy things about Florida. You can be you'll turn the corner and somebody will be there in their bathrobe and you're like, whoa. So I'll probably keep it a little bit quiet. Just kind of freak some people out when they hear somebody in their backyard. Sound actually travels pretty good over water. It really does. So we're just going to cover some real estate right now. A little stump. We're up on a stump. We're up on a stump. I'm not sponsored by Folgers, but I probably should be. I love my coffee. A lot of people say, why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep talking about like Folgers? Folgers is just like not that great of a coffee. I kind of look at them, I'm like, well, it's coffee I grew up with, I mean, Folgers coffee, all the little instant Folgers, and Mom always had a big 5-gallon thing, or 5-pound can of Folgers coffee. Ground it up, and when she opened that thing up, I'd sit there and just, love the smell of that. I know there's other better coffees. There's much better coffees, I guess you could say, but, the time I get done putting my, honey and some sugar and some cream in it, it doesn't taste much like anything, other than, some coffee with honey, sugar, and cream in it. And I think nowadays coffee drinks are getting more like milkshakes, basically. But so I kind of still keep it kind of old school and traditional with the ingredients. So Black Rifle or Starbucks or Folgers, trust me, it's all going to taste the same the way I like it. Now, the reason I keep saying Folgers is that Folgers, like most people, and you guys might agree, that Folgers isn't that great. It's a halfway decent coffee. Well, I look at myself as a halfway decent fisherman. I'm not excellent, I'm not a pro, and I'm not great. Just like Folgers, we're kind of a perfect match. Neither one of us is just perfect or great. We're just kind of good. We're all right. You think that'd work in a sales meeting? Trying to pitch that? Probably wouldn't. Probably wouldn't. Oh my gosh. So I've been having a lot of fun too on this site called Sora. Sora, it's the AI video website. And if you guys are in on that and check it out, look me up. It's the Rockin' Star Ranch. That was the name of our ranch back home in Cincinnati, the Rockin' Star Ranch. And so I'm using that, the Rockin' Star Ranch. And I am your tour guide to Nashville, Tennessee. It's a place that I absolutely have always loved. I lived there for a short time and worked out of there for a short time. Drove in and out of there, playing music for a short time. Absolutely love the city of Nashville, and I've seen it go through some changes in my life. And I know a lot of really cool Nashville stories. So if you're in the Nashville Music City, check me out on Sora, the AI video generator, and it's a lot of fun. People are really creative when you give them the opportunity to do, anything they want to with creation like that, and it's fun. It's a lot. I've been having a great time showing off all my rhinestone suits. I love collecting rhinestone suits. Believe it or not, I'd wear one right now, actually. Rhinestone suit while I'm fishing. I should have one with some fish on it. Actually, I'm gonna have one made. I can do that in AI generator. That's the beautiful thing about it. I'll put largemouth bass on it. So we're working ourselves just up around some pretty shallow stuff here. I can see bait fish move, so there's fish up in here as I'm pulling this thing through here. And again, my speed just might be a little too much for them right now. That water got cold last night. It got cold, so we're just gonna play with this just a little bit more. Cover some more ground here. Getting back to this particular fishing rod, let's talk some specs right now. So the 1230 line weight on this thing, this is an FP885 blank. Comes in a lot of really cool different colors. I love this metallic green color that it comes in. It also comes in metallic copper. I built this rod on it. Really looks good. I have a compressed carbon reel seat on it, and that compressed carbon reel seat is not only light. This can be a heavier blank. It's not, although it is pretty light for what it feels like. If that makes any sense. When you pick it up, you're like, man, this is such a stiff, like tobacco stick. You feel that, but when you cast it, I didn't even try. That right there was a 35-yard cast, and I'm not even trying. This thing really helps me out. It's got a mod fast tip, and that mod fast tip, as you can see, I've got this thing sitting straight up. Normally you'd want your rod down here, so you got a lot of leverage when it comes to a hook set. And they agree. That's the North Carolina red sandhill crane, which has the oldest prehistoric living fossil record. That bird right there, and it sounds like it's prehistoric, doesn't it? But this FP885 allows me to hold this thing up straight like this as I just slowly bring this swim bait through here, and this goes for the offshore as well. Like if you're doing some inshore fishing out on the lagoon, out on one like Indian River, you're out there with speckled trout, big huge trophy red, snook, tarpon even. I'm holding this thing up here like that. A fish puts a slam down on my lure. This mod fast tip is soft enough that it's going to allow it to take it. And then that mod fast, it's stiff enough, if that makes sense. It's soft enough to allow the fish to take it, but then it has this second kick in of that mod fast action, and it'll set the hook for you, and then you just leverage in, and the fight begins. And this rod is badass, absolutely badass. And for that reason, that's why I hit "this is not made for children" video, because I was afraid I was probably going to say this rod's badass. And there's a lot of Florida rod builders that will absolutely agree. This can be used for a great inshore rod. 7'4". I cut a couple inches off of it to bring it down to 7'2", but it's everything's pretty good around here as far as clearance. Even with a 7'4" rod, which isn't bad because you're going to really cover some real estate in your casting, making sure that you just have a you know, shorter handle, but not one so short that your leverage isn't there when you need it. Because I'll cast in a pendulum like this, and it really just, boom, man, it sails that thing without any effort at all, and it's another 35 or 40 yards of distance. And there's something following me. Oh, dang, 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 dang. I felt that bite. I felt it. Oh man, you could see that wake. That's the fun thing about it. Let's run this back through there. That was my fault there. That was my fault. I missed that one. I saw it coming too. It looked like a torpedo. So, okay, so as they're warming up, it's warming up a little bit. Makes some sense. I'm slowing down. I'm going to keep this on here now that we've got a little action with this. We might be in some. Got to figure out what depth they're at too. Even though a couple days ago they were up in the shadow or shallow. That has nothing to do with the fact that today they're going to be dropped back a few feet. It's something that you got another ingredient that you have to figure out when you're bass fishing. And with no electronics, which I really enjoy doing. I don't care too much about using a live scope or forward-facing sonar or anything like that. I'm okay. I got an Xbox at home I can go fishing with. This is a challenge between me. I really feel like, okay, I have accomplished something. If I've gone out and I have figured out that ingredient, I've had the patience and the equipment, the planning, and I did everything right, and I catch even one fish, I feel like, all right, I did okay. Worst case scenario is you have a great day out here on the water, doing something that you are loving to do, and don't what am I trying to say? Don't overlook the fact that even though we are out here and possibly not getting a bite, we can't find a fish with a search warrant. Don't give up the fact that this is a brilliant opportunity for you to learn and test equipment, to test lures, to try things out. Out of the last 40 casts with this swim bait, 50 casts maybe, we've had one come after it. So, should we keep trying this or try something else? Let's see what else we can pop into the mix and see if we can't do something. So the water is quite calm right now. Maybe it's a good time just to throw a popper out. So let's try that. That's what I'm using right there. It looks just like one of the gamblers, the same mold basically. It's a 1/8 ounce underbelly weighted Gamakatsu hook with a spring load on the front of it. And there's my FP885 flipping and pitching stick with the split grip. I like the cork. It's just a really cool look. Doesn't hold up quite as well, but if you take care of it, keep the fish guts off of it. An American Tackle Type Forge Guide kit there. That's love it. That's the best rod I got. I got an SJ833 right here. So this is a spin jig. This is a great little all-around top water fluke, jerk bait, finesse fishing type of lure. So we got a popper on there. Let's just see what happens. I'm gonna go with popper. You're gonna go a little bit slower, a lot like a devil's horse there. You're just really kind of attracting attention, and you're allowing that fish to react to it as if it is a wounded, fish. And they don't want to work hard. It's cold, man. And so if you put that in front of their face, that sometimes works. Just gotta be a little bit patient with it. You gotta pop it. Shoot it in there between some of these lily pads and just let it sit there. Pop it. That's what's great about this fast, it's a medium power SJ833. Great finesse, great for Ned rigs, great for some salt water. It's got the, it's a very, very light rod, weighs about maybe 3.9 ounces, maybe 3.10 ounces. And but it's a rod that'll really fight some big saltwater fish too. SJ833 MHX. I got it with an EVA, American Tackle, dagger reel seat combo right there. Love it. It's such an easy cast, and you can cover so much, and just let it sit there. This is a good time to enjoy the coffee, enjoy the surroundings. Enjoy sneaking up in people's backyards. Oh, we got something moving around it right there. I'm not even paying attention. So this got a little feather on there on the end of this popper here, which could be a little, tantalizing, you might say. It's that one little thing that's just sitting there teasing them, sort of mesmerizing them as they draw up to it to investigate what this thing is. And that little bit of movement is enough to strike, get a reaction out of them. The rest is history after that. These sticky trebles that you get on these, a lot of these poppers, even the ones that you buy from the store, I usually change them out. And I'll buy trebles here and there. I just make sure that they're sticky. Gamakatsu have always had some great ones, Eagle Claw, I think, makes some really good treble hooks. So I change those out sometimes. If they're tacky, they gotta be tacky. Where you go to run your finger over that point of the treble and it just slightly grabs it. You gotta have that. If it's any duller than that, you want to change them out. Let's see if we can't get this popper right in here. That's a good shot. Let it sit there for a moment, just like a devil's horse. Just let it chill. Pop a couple times. Let it chill. Pop a couple more times. Nothing happens. Start pop, 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 pop. Like you can walk the dog with these little action where you're going back and forth. Let's cover some distance and see what we can do with this one along the edge. That's nice. That right there, that's a Joe Burrow pass to Chase right there. That's about 45 yards. Can't beat that out of the sitting down in a kayak. So I got all this real estate to cover, and this is a crucial when you're out in the salt water, because you just need to cover so much distance, because those bass or those fish out there in the lagoon and the Indian River, those fish are very spooky fish. They're on the run, man. Bass tend to be a little bit more residential. They'll hang out in certain areas for most of their lives. There are exceptions. I came through here once before and I'm up behind. Oh man, there's a nice little pop over there. Let's see if we can't get in that direction without spooking somebody. Oh, right. Oh, sorry. I think I just landed right on top of them. These fish will get up underneath these trees as well. And they'll wait. Things will fall out of the trees, lizards, birds, baby birds, and such. There's something's moving on it. And they'll Man, they'll hit those things just fast. Let's pop this a little faster, see if that's maybe what they want. Sometimes you just got to make them fight. And there's the patience. That I think a lot of people don't maybe understand the schematics of bass fishing, so they tend to get a little aggravated with it, because it is challenging. And others can make it look so easy. But you don't want to forget a landing net here in Florida, because I'm telling you, every cast you have the potential of really catching your personal best bass. Starting to get in the shade. I'm starting to, we're actually still, I honestly, guys, I can't even see the video. That sun is so bright right now. I don't have my polarized lenses. Oh, there we go. Something just worked on her. There we go. Oh, no. Yeah, we on it? Yeah, we on it. She's on it. That's the sound of the braid going through those SSR guys. Little fella. Yeah, that's what happens. Okay, I mean, it's going to take a little bit. Hold on there. Hold on. I apologize to you, young man. I should have had these already available, so I can just pick these up and make this a quick for you. Little fella there, not even big enough to measure up for a kayak tournament. Thank you, buddy. Love you, man. Get back in there. Yeah, what? He's a spunk. A spunk. Let him go. Let him grow. Okay, well, there is some slight evidence that they are biting on something, and let's just keep throwing that. So that's what we're tossing right there. It's a popper. Poppers I've had for a while, and I use them sparingly. I don't use them a whole lot. Maybe I should start using them more. And there's the time for them. And so again, it's just a matter of having that rod that will allow you to really effectively use a lighter topwater lure like this. You want those, smaller treble hooks to stay pinned to those fish, and to have a rod that will allow it to work with that is crucial. Absolutely crucial. Hey, hold on for a second. Grab my cup of coffee here. I'm getting into some shade, and I can. Well, that's going. Is that an inflatable kayak? I had known me for many years and love it. It sure is, Mick. This is a Hobie iTrack 11 inflatable. I absolutely love it, my friend. I can put 2 of these in my Sonata sedan and head out and meet anybody on the inshore here in some of these bass fishing waters here in Florida. But yeah, it sure is, man. And thanks to Strictly Sail and Kayak, located in Blue Ash, Ohio. They've been there since 1978. What were you doing in 1978? They've sponsored me with this, and I'm grateful for it. They're a bunch of great people. There are gators in here. There absolutely are. If you call a mermaid, would you throw it back? Of course I would. I'd kiss her and say, let her go, let her go. Let her go and let her grow, that's right. I'd absolutely love to catch a mermaid. That would be fun, wouldn't it? What about gators? JJ, yes, you have to be very aware of the alligators here. There are big alligators here. But there's an understanding, I think, with alligators and humans. We are a predator to gators, and I think they know that. It's the small little 3 and 4 foot ones. The bigger ones will just, they'll dip down. And as long as you're not being stupid, like wanting to get your picture taken or getting close to them, you're good. They're chill. if they're up on a bank and it's a cold morning, but the sun is coming right there. In fact, there's one right there. There's one right there. There's one right there. Hold on. And he's just chill. He's just chill. He's not doing anything. He knows I'm here. I gotta turn this thing around. He's right at the bow. I don't know if you guys can see. He's just got his head sitting right there. So, speaking of, not being stupid, so I'm just gonna politely exit this area. They can be very territorial, and you keep your eye on them. But that's what you do with gators, man. I haven't caught anything yet this morning, guys. And sorry you're at work. But let's get out of here. Let's leave this guy alone. It's all yours, bud. I'm out of here. Love you, bro. Oh, shit. I'm stuck. Another reason why I put this is not made for children, because I know there's things that can happen while I'm out here, and I'd hate to have a bunch of children just enjoying my fishing videos. Next thing you know, my arm's getting ripped off. That wouldn't be good. I'd probably I'd drop the F-bomb a couple times. That wouldn't be good, so let's continue. He's good. He ain't going nowhere. Wanting to get up on that bank and get some sun is what he's wanting to do. But there you go. That's kind of how you react to alligators. You're just, leave them alone, man. You don't want to tease them, don't want to taunt them. And if you can stay away from them. I was down in the Econ River and just doing some trail dusting, heading from bank to bank and tossing my lures into the Econ River and looking down on, I'm about 10 feet up on a cliff, and I look down and there is a monster. I mean, this thing is at least 12, 13, 14 feet long, and his head was just as huge. And he had his eyeball on me. Like, he's looking up at me like if I came off of that cliff, that's where I was going to be in trouble. And here comes this lady in a stand-up paddleboard. She's just having a good time. She's got her headphones on, man. She's just digging life, going down the Econ's a beautiful river. It's black. I mean, just the water is just black. You really can't see nothing. And there she goes. She just rolls right over top of the alligator, and the alligator just hangs out right there, and that stand-up paddleboard just gently went right up over the gator, and I was like, holy cow. What a react. Hold on, guys. She's working me up around up. Pads. Let's get up to her. Let's get up to her. Where are you at, darling? Where are you at? You're in there. I know you're in there. I know you're in there. There, I can feel you. I can feel you. She buried us. Oh no. Oh no, she's on there. But we're tagged up to a oh man, that gator's right over there too. This is what gets gators excited. Come here, I can help you out, kid, here. necessarily want to do this. Let's see if I can get my net down there. Get this up underneath her. Oh, yeah, I don't think she's that big, but we got her. Oh. Oh, no. I didn't think she was that big, but it got off. Wow. Let's get ourselves back in before we get turned into bait. Well, that was entertaining. A little break in the action there. Okay, come on. That is where you really need to have a rod that's capable of keeping them up out of those situations, keeping those heads turned. That one was a little weak in doing that, especially so close to these lily pads, and that was a chance I took, but that was fun anyway. We almost got her. Maybe a couple pounds. It didn't look like it was that much. It just got hooked up in the leather stalk of that, but so far so good with this little guy. They're reacting to just a much slower lure right now. It makes sense, that water temperature's cold, close. Well, obviously my knots worked out. I have this as the lure worked out as well. That was interesting. Sorry about that, guys. They absolutely will try to steal your fish, man. That's yeah. You know what scares me is manatees. Manatees. Man, when you nerve one up and they jump, they will explode, and it scares the Jesus out of me. Okay, let's get back. Let's get away from here, and let's just try that again. See what happens. Temperature's starting to warm up a little bit. Oh, that was fun. And that gator's still back there, so he's cool. He's like, I'm good. So on the gators, smaller, those little like 2 foot and 3 foot gators, those little juveniles, they are the bastards you want to watch out for on an inflatable, because they will flat out chase. They love these topwater lures like this. They're making a lot of noise, they're making some popping sound, and they're traveling. They're figuring out where that's at, and they will after these type of lures, and they'll run right up on your stand-up paddleboard after it. There we go. Nice one. Cowboy. Little cowboy. Come here. Gotta be a little careful with those treble hooks there. He's a little fella. These juvenile males are really up in the shallow, and this is an indication that they might be up there feeding. They might be up there looking for the spawn. Those are some sticky treble hooks right there. This one is actually a 12-inch bass, so if we were in a kayak fishing tournament, we would measure this one up and put it up on the leaderboard. There you go. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you for joining John Graves Kayak Fishing. Well, let's keep tossing this one, because so far we're banging them out on it. And that just might be what it is. It's working in conjunction with the clouds that we have today, the heat, whatever's working, the ingredients. I'd be running back into the kitchen saying, let's make some more of these hors d'oeuvres, guys. Come on. This is what they're liking. This is the breakfast burritos they want. This is like a ghost style um, popping lure. Buddy of mine painted this one up, and I've had it for a long time. Hang Outdoors, Kevin Frazier with Hang Outdoors, sent me just a fantastic collection of lures a number of years ago, and I still love them. They're just those beautiful hand-painted lures that, you know, really look better in a shadow box, you know, kind of thing. There you go, just boom, that's a Joe Burrow pass right there. I'm just gonna, all the real estate, see what we can do. So this one's great for walking the dog. Boom, all I gotta do for that walking the dog action is this right here, pop, 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 and then a little bit more aggressive for the pop, and I'll just go bloop, walk the dog, and I'll go bloop, walk the dog, and I'll go bloop, walk the dog, and I'll go bloop. That could be a hip-hop song. Walk the dog, and I'll go bloop. Walk the dog, and the dog goes bloop. I've been having a lot of fun with music lately. I've always been into music my whole life. I've been into it, really. My family's always been around music. High school and music, and the Navy, playing music, and getting out of the Navy and traveling, playing music here and there and back home, and being in bands. A lot of alt country, a lot of country. I love Nashville, Tennessee. Love it so much. And again, if you're into the AI video generator Sora, look me up on the Rockin' Star Ranch, and I'll be your Nashville tour guide. Check that out. But if you want to listen to some cool music, check out the music of the Rockin' Star Ranch Orchestra. A lot of music to fish by as well, with Cowboy Gasoline. And I think they're on all platforms, music platforms. Cowboy Gasoline and the Rockin' Star Ranch Orchestra. Those are just some of my songs. If you're into that kind of stuff, if you're into music as much as I am. Music, fishing, and rhinestones are probably three of my favorite things. I'm not sure exactly how deep we are. We're looking pretty deep here. Feels deep. It could be just a couple feet deep, actually. Just throwing his popper out, just letting it sit, just trying different, you know, movements with it. Let it sit there for a moment, pop it, just let it pause. Not sure exactly how. It seems like the last couple bass, there we go. There's one that just calmly came up to it. Wow, just came up, put a mouth around it, took it down, and didn't commit. Amazing. Pretty big mouth too, it looked like. Okay, so let's keep tossing this one out there like that. Oop, I just made one move where I was at. You can tell how that weird water reacts. And boy, it seems like sometimes they'll see that lure coming at them and they'll hit it just the moment it hits the water, like they had a catcher's mitt. That's always amazed me. It's like they actually see it coming. Looking for that weird water. Looking for those odd movements, you know. You know, so you know, put yourself in that. You know, you're looking at your lure, but you got like a hula hoop around it, so you're looking at all that space around it as well. let those rings, of the splash just kind of send out the signal that, breakfast is being served. Being patient with bass is key, paying attention. Watching how they move. You can, and after you start reading the surface of water, you start understanding what's happening down below too. So kind of doing a mental forward-facing sonar. If I could, in a way, you're visually kind of putting the signals that you're seeing together to kind of give you an idea of how these fish are reacting to the lures. And you should have already done your homework. So with lures, and what I mean by that is, take your time. And this is a perfect day. We're catching some fish, but we're not catching a whole lot. It's not like we're catching every cast. Right now I'm paying attention to this lure and how it's working, and how I'm working with it. Is the line that I'm using too heavy or too light? Am I using the right kind of braid? Should I be tied straight to it with braid? Do I need to use a leader? So all these things I'm just putting together. But this lure, as it's working out right now, it's outstanding. I have a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader on a 15-pound braid, and it's everything I need to, it's not breaking off. It's working great for me. So as it stands now, this would be one of the rods that I would pick if I were going to be headed to a tournament. I feel like we're caught up on something here. Bring her in quick. And you want a rod, this is why you want to know your lures, because that lure wasn't acting like it should, and that front treble was hooked up to it. So I'm just wasting my time, wasting the lure's time. Put it right there and see what happens. We'll slow her down. Hope everybody's doing good today, man. I thank you for subscribing, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. I really thank you. That means a lot to me. It really is. I'm actually very humbled that people share the passion that I have for fishing. And if there's any suggestions you guys got or anything you want to know from me, I'm kind of new at it, but I've been into fishing for a while, but new at the YouTube kind of thing, I do have other, platforms, TikTok, John Marion Graves at TikTok, John Marion Graves on Facebook. Instagram, John Graves Kayak Fishing, stuff like that. So I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. I'm into rod building. Love to build rods. In fact, we got some repairs to do this weekend, so I'll be going and doing some videos of showing you guys how easy it is to repair a rod. So, if you've passed fourth grade art, you can repair your fishing rod. It's acting up again. Now, the main reason I use fluorocarbon or monofilament for lures like this is that it's a little heavier line than the braid. The braid will get caught up a lot of times in your cast with the hooks because it's so light. So it kind of gets ahead of the lure itself and get tangled up in the treble hooks, and you're just ineffective at that point. And that happens way too many times. So you want to use a heavier line like a monofilament. It's a great line to use. Durable. Doesn't stretch as much as your fluorocarbon, but it stretches a little bit more than the braid does. Braid doesn't have much stretch at all. It really doesn't. It's going to break before it stretches. So let's cruise through here and see if we can't drum something up. I'll cover some distance and just see if we can't do anything above some of this open water to get out of the lily pads a little bit. Maybe some of these bigger fish will be out in the open water. So had a great time fishing the inshore a few days ago, and had the opportunity to use some dealer exclusive NLBN soft plastic paddle tails, the no live bait needed, and we used a dealer exclusive color, and I'm happy to say I caught multi-species on that dealer exclusive color. I was very much impressed. Those paddle tails have a great thump to them as well. That would be these right there, the NLBNs. No live bait needed. Great for bass, great for spinner baits and such. Let's throw this out into the open a little bit more. See if we can drum up some interest down below in some deeper waters. We'll do that a couple times, and then we'll get back into the shallows, and we just kind of back and forth, you know, seeing where the bigger fish are. Obviously, we've got some males on board, and that's okay. We want big females. Females are going to be the larger of the species, and they need that large frame to carry those eggs. Guys don't need to do nothing except be scrawny and build a nest. Get it done fast, guys. And there to protect that nest as well, which is both what the female and the male will do. Now the wind's really starting to pick up. I mean, that's what happens here in Central Florida. We'll do that. You'll have a very calm morning, and all of a sudden those winds will kick in. We're talking, you know, coming out of the northeast type winds. And so that right there is going to change the dynamics of what you're using to fish with. Thank you. There you go. Boom right there. Homemade, custom made. That's hang outdoors. And I've had that for a long time. In fact, I've only used that a few times. Let's get back to the swim bait, shall we? There's something special about it. And I can cover some distance. Boom, right there. That's a nice bomb. I'm running this thing pretty quick, right up underneath the water line, just see if we can get any reaction happening. This thing just has a great thump to it. We're gonna get back over to this choke point, and the wind is actually going to be pushing us right now in the same direction that the lures will be, or the bait fish are going to be pushing. So creating a current pushing things this way. I want to give a natural look to the bait and have them swimming that way. Great impact. You know, this is where you unexpectedly get pushed by the wind into an alligator, and you don't want to be in that, situation at all. All I want is just take a look around. Love the sound of the North Carolina sandhill crane. Absolutely love it. Go a little slower. Does that work? Let's get up here in the shallow a little bit more, and let's start fanning into the shallows. Got the deep out here. To my right, it's probably your left. drops over here into some. Whoop. Braid's a tricky thing. It's light. It's easy to get bird nested up. Don't lose your mind if you do. Be patient with it. Most often you can work that bird nest out. But if you find yourself bird nesting a little bit, you just want to back off on the brakes here a little bit. You know, as a general rule of thumb, when on the bait caster, when a good way to tell that, so I got, again, it's an 1/8 ounce weight. It's probably a 1/2 ounce of the lure, maybe even a little bit more because of the weight of the actual soft plastic. So I'm going to hit this, and if it just slowly drops when I release the bail, that's a pretty good start right there. To take it, don't take any chances. If you hit that and it just, you want to slow it down a little bit more, just back off on this little brake right here. Right? It's a magnetic clutch brake, what they call it. And that way, most likely when you go to give it a cast, it's not going to bird nest up on you and stuff like that. So it's a good way to, Come on, pick up that line, she's coming right at me. Oh my God. There you go, where you at? There you go. Come here. A little bit bigger. Bigger, we'll take her. Shaboom, that's definitely a measurable bass thing. Nice, beautiful fish. Right on. Hold on now, baby girl. Definitely a good-sized male. Could be a female. Younger female, but yeah, it kind of looks like a female there. Love it. Beautiful. There she is. Love you. Get back in there. We have some babies, man. Watch yourselves. The wind's blowing us away, and we're getting somewhat tangled up here. And we're locked up around. There you go. Hold on one second. There we go. Operating in a kayak sometimes when it gets windy like this, it's a lot like flying a balloon, hot air balloon. You just kind of course I've never flown a hot air balloon, but I can, oh my God, I'm just all wrapped up here. Imagine that you just got to keep your eye on the prize, man. Wow, we are really just, that's how quick, light braid can work its magic around your stuff. We got to get around this guy. There we go. Let's get away from here. Get out here in the open so we can look at this mess. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this. Let's start here with the lure. Now at this point in time, when this gets too bad, something like this situation, I would just cut the line and retie and stuff. But we may be able to get her all out. Here. Patience is a virtue. I think Thomas Jefferson said that. Yeah, bam, 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 bam. And you are good. Let's rig you back up because you're still in pretty good shape, I think. So, boom, they're getting pushed again. Again, I'm using the swim bait with the flow of what would most likely be happening. Talking the bait fish, the smaller fish are going to be pushed this way from the wind that's really picked up right now. So let's just work this point, head back into the wind. With our bow facing that way. Catfishing. Do I do catfishing? Not on purpose. I love the catfishing. It is a lot of fun. I make catfishing rods. I actually make rods for some catfishermen. But no, it's something that I haven't really practiced or done a whole lot of. Dedicated the time to it and stuff like that. Different type of game, that's for sure, man. That's a whole different type of fishing. And big fish too, man. Big fighters. I've caught some pretty good sized catfish though. I actually caught big catfish while I was doing some work with Port Arthur limb lines, which you can find in your Bass Pro shops now. Port Arthur limb lines. It's an instant limb line, and if you're into like the bug out survival kind of stuff, if you don't have a Port Arthur limb line in your survival bag, you're gonna die. Okay, it's just one of the easiest ways to harvest fish. It's so simple and a lot of fun actually, and they're reusable. The instant limb lines are absolutely reusable, so you don't have to keep making limb lines, because again, when a zombie apocalypse breaks out, man, everybody's gonna be fighting for those goods. All those things you need to survive. And fishing supplies will go really quick, I guarantee it, in the zombie apocalypse world. The temperature right now, it's going to be about 72 degrees today. This morning, it was in the high 50s. And as soon as that sun comes up, man, that temperature rises quick. You can feel a good 15-degree difference within the first hour sometimes. But it's going to be about 73 degrees today, I believe, where I'm at. Beautiful day. One of those days where you go from indoor to outdoor and you can't tell the difference in whether it's air conditioned or not. So let's work back down this little groove here, and I'm headed over to this pinch point. Again, it's the pinch point in which we made our entrance into this little body of water, and it's a small chunk of water here. We kind of made our way all around it. And I've done pretty good, both with the swim bait and the top water here. So we've caught, 4 bass so far? And I think 3 of them have actually been measurable, to put up on a tournament board if we were actually in a kayak bass fishing tournament. Well, you can see how the winds are really pushing me right now. So we got 17-mile-an-hour winds that are going to be coming in today from the northeast. And it's really why I chose to just do some inshore fishing. I don't want to be out on some freshwater fishing. I don't want to be out on the inshore messing with, winds like this. There are some tributaries, canals and things that you can get back into and get away from some of this wind. But I thought today would be a good day to come out and just work on some bass fishing. We got some rod repairs to do here later on in the garage, and I'll be coming back on, and definitely if you guys are into hanging out, I'm going to be doing some real simple rod repairs. And these are rod repairs that if you've never done anything like that, man, grab yourself your favorite beverage, a cup of coffee, tea, whatever the case is, cold glass of beer, some nice wine. And we're going to be talking about how simple it is just to repair a guide on your fishing rod. So I really appreciate everybody. Thank you for subscribing, guys. My battery, I can see that bad boy's going, dude, you don't have much time left. But for the time that I have, oh my God, that was a big fish right there. That was huge. That thing was so huge.